Yeah. Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Madisonville Marine. MadMarine.com is their website. You can also get down and see them on 411 North in Madisonville. Christmas just around the corner. So if you're looking for gifts for the boater in your life, Mad Marine has a terrific selection of boating accessories. Everything a boat owner could want or could need. Terrific stocking stuffers, especially if you've got some really big stockings. Madisonville Marine, get down there. All right, want to welcome in the next member of our panel, VFL Jacob Gillum down there. Glad to have you with us. Want to talk just about one topic in this segment, and that is Vols only recorded one touchdown yesterday. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it was the one drive where Dobbs was 3 or 4 passing. He had a pass interference that helped, and then he ran for the touchdown himself. As we said last week, this offense, you better have a productive quarterback in just about every area. And on that drive, he was. But other times, he wasn't. People saying they don't play to win, or they don't have a killer instinct. Mm-hmm. Others have said, well, maybe you're covering up holes. That seems to be my take. We'll discuss. I'm going to start down there with Jacob. Is this we'll make it tough on you since it's your play. You played last year, so let's talk about your teammates. Does this coaching staff, offensively, not the defensive staff, but offense, we'll talk about here, are they being too conservative in the play calling, or are they simply, they know their limitations? Man's got to know his limitations. Yeah. Do they know the limitations and they're trying to protect themselves against wayward passes? Your thoughts?
Well, earlier in the year, I thought they were being too conservative, and it really wasn't that. It was that the offense, the players hadn't learned the full offense yet. You know, the first 3-4 games, you're very vanilla. You're trying to install everything. At this point, I think that we're just trying to make up for all the injuries we've had, everywhere. I mean, the offensive line's been decimated. We've had some guys step up, but you really got to protect your right tackle, especially being a true freshman. There's a lot of things you can't do pass game-wise, over the middle, deep balls, that you don't have the time, and you can't sacrifice a running back or a tight end every single play to help block. So that takes away some of your pass plays. And honestly, I think we're playing to a lot of strengths because our strength is running the ball. That's what we're good at. That's what we do. We just got a 1,000-yard back in Jalen Hurd. We're going to run the ball. Vandy, you're going to see the same thing. We're going to put the ball on the ground, rush for 250, 300 yards, and that's how we're going to win games from now on.
Yeah. Guys, your thought, Bob, too conservative or hiding their weaknesses?
I think they're hiding their weaknesses by being conservative. Somebody accused them of playing not to lose. Well, what is not losing? It's winning. I think last night they did play not to lose, because I've never felt, after seeing a team stopped in the red zone, kick 2 field goals, and go, the other team ain't got a chance in the world of winning that football game. So Tennessee had to help them. I think the coaches realized that. They pulled their offense back. Yes, they played not to lose, and it worked.
I thought the second half, they pulled it in more, and they didn't have Dobbs throwing the ball as much. And I think perfect example, first play of the fourth quarter, I believe it was. Missouri's already scored. No, I take that back. It was late in the game, 3rd and 11. Dobbs on his own end. They do the quarterback draw. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that is saying, when we showed you last week, Dobbs isn't the most accurate passer in the world. Are we going to put this up here and give them a chance and an easy touchdown the other way and a turnover to where they're deep in our territory? Or we're just going to be safe here. Our defense is owning them. Let's punt. I think they're covering their weaknesses more than lacking a killer instinct. I think earlier in the season, it was more true that you're lacking a killer instinct. Will you disagree?
I do disagree, just for the fact I see the body language, I see how the guys are executing. I see them, they get past 10 yards, they get knocked down by a guy. I've seen other games where they make that guy miss, they take one extra step. I think if you ask this team, your emotional level going in against what you played like against Georgia or some of these other teams compared to Missouri and North, I think right now you got the guys, hey, their emotional level, we know we can beat them too. So we're going to stay in this game. We're going to pound it out. We're going to do what we got to do. But the emotional level is no way. If you put an 8-win team up against them next week, they're going to play entirely different. And they're going to call the same plays at times, and those plays are going to look entirely different. So I think right now this team, even a team like this that has learned to win this year, there's another step, which is you learn not to play down to the guys I'm playing, but to beat them unmercifully until the clock runs out. They haven't learned that yet, and that's another step that this team has to take.
Is that a coaching thing, though? I mean, we're talking about coaching conservative
I think the coaches can coach conservative in that game, and I think there's
Didn't
some good
punish you
reasons. There's some
yesterday.
strategic reasons for doing that. But the players right now are also, you see it in body language, in my opinion, are playing down to that team as well.
Jimmy?
I think like Forrest Gump, they're a mixed box of chocolate. I think some of this has happened. And I had a coach many years ago that told me this. He said, if I'm better than you are, I'm going to be conservative. I'm not going to beat myself. If you're as good or better than I am, I'm going to play to win. I think Tennessee played to win early against Florida. And when they got the lead, I thought they played not to lose and went conservative. I think a little of that crept in with Oklahoma. I think with Missouri, they thought, we're better than Missouri. Don't make a mistake. We're going to be conservative. Same with North Texas. So I think that you throw a lot of that in. But I do think at times they are making sure they're conservative because are they hiding a weakness doing that? Yeah, they're hiding a weakness because their passing game, to me, is not where you want it to be. If you ask me where do I think Tennessee needs to make a significant step next year to be a championship team, they've got to be more efficient passing the football next year. And we'll see if they can.
It's one of the reasons the Arkansas game was not a good matchup going in. They limit your possessions, and when you can't consistently pass the ball down the field when they're putting 7, 8, or 8, 9 guys in the box, you're not going to be an efficient offense. So an inefficient offense with few possessions, that was going to be a bad matchup against Arkansas. They need to work on that. And one thing that they need to do, that I know Butch Jones isn't a big fan of, is letting his quarterback and receivers work in the summer and have their own little workout passing camp. Manning did that here. A lot of former quarterbacks have done that here. A lot of former quarterbacks have done that around the nation. Butch Jones, for some reason, wasn't thrilled with that because he had someone hurt a few years ago. Not a huge fan of that. I think, boy, the coaches can't watch it. The coaches can't be a part of it. But if I'm a coach, I'm encouraging them to, hey, skip the internship at Boeing or wherever you're going this summer, Josh, and stick around here and throw to your guys a little bit. They got to work on the communication. Second week in a row, you saw Dobbs throw to a spot, and either the receiver didn't know where he was going or Dobbs didn't. So they got to work on that. Let me ask you this. There's still talk, okay, if Dobbs isn't going to be a passer, why aren't you putting in Dormady? You got people saying that. You're 11 games into the season with a guy that started game after game after game. You're not going to make that switch to somebody that's unproven at this point in the season.
No, we had a couple calls about that today, about why didn't Dormady go in because he throws the ball better than Dobbs. He didn't go in because Dobbs was running the offense what they wanted to. And you also have to wonder, and you can talk to this better than I can because you played last year, but I just wonder about Dobbs is your guy, so if you start throwing Dormady in there, you're creating a controversy. Are you creating any kind of divide within your team? Yeah. You can answer that better than I could, but I think I wonder about that a little bit.
I honestly think that this team, and the way Butch builds teams, you got to understand, we won't care who plays, but at the same time, like Kurt Magid, you're not going to willingly put somebody else in over Kurt Magid because he's your leader. You don't take the general off the field. You keep him up there. You keep him leading his guys, and you keep him making plays. I mean, talking about replacing Dobbs, yeah, that'd be fine if we didn't rush for 250 yards yesterday. He sets up so much in the rushing game and sets up misdirection that if you take him out, you'll have a whole different offense. Yeah, you might throw for 200 yards, but who cares?
Well, if you're winning, you're winning. And Dobbs, when he's healthy, and there were reports that he kind of limped off the field yesterday, but when he's healthy and he can scramble for a first down on a 3rd and long, or he can just pick guys up and carry them into the end zone for a touchdown, that's the side of his game that makes up for a lot of the passing issues. The problem is when the run game isn't going for him, then he becomes very, very average. In terms of changing quarterbacks, there are people right now saying Steve Spurrier did it. But you know the interesting thing about Spurrier? His 2 most successful run at Florida, he stuck with Danny Werfel. Most successful run at South Carolina, he stuck with Connor Shaw. When he had his greatest success at both places, that wasn't when he was flip-flopping the quarterback. So I think Jacob's right. You don't take the general off the field. If he's the best guy to run your offense, you don't take him off unless he's losing you football games. But all right, when we come back, we're going to talk fame or blame. We got 3 more panelists to put out here. Who played well and deserved credit yesterday? Who deserves some blame and scorn and rage? We'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.
From East Tennessee to the Carolinas, no job is too big for Benedict Construction. Patios and decks, custom remodels, even custom homes. With a reputation for excellence, rely on the custom work of Benedict Construction.